Thank you for tuning in to Leadership Level Up. I'm Brian Prairie.
And I'm Dr. Jeff Williamson.
I am just starting my leadership journey.
And I've been guiding leaders for 30 years.
Our podcast aims to shine a spotlight on outstanding leaders and provide a platform for them to describe their leadership journey and share the guiding principles that have helped them become great leaders. Today we are joined by Dustin Kooy, realtor and developer, to discuss his leadership journey.
Welcome to the Leadership Level Up podcast. I'm Jeff Williamson. This is my co-host, Brian Prairie. And we're here with our friend Dustin Kooy today. And I'm looking forward. We've already had fun even before we started the official conversation. But let me tell you a little bit about Dustin, and then we're going to unpack his story as we go along and a little bit more about his work and his life. He is the founder of Duncan Homes, is also the owner of Sky Development, and is a full-time real estate broker. So you are a guy that is on the move and busy pretty often, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for joining us today. This has been fun already, and we're looking forward to learning more about your work. So just jump right in. We were talking before about how did you get into the work that you're doing today, and there's some experiences that precede that. So maybe just let's start out with early on. Where were some of the first places you worked and the kinds of things that you did, and then we'll back it in from there.
All right, so maybe going back towards like grade school, high school then?
Yeah. Things that were interesting, that intrigued you even in those early years to say, I think I'll pursue that, or I'll look into that.
Yeah, well, I got my first job, I think I was cutting grass when I was about 12 or 13.
There you go.
And then I worked at the YMCA when I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe I worked at K's Merchandise, for those who remember K's Merchandise.
Yep.
I do.
Through a little bit through high school. And I always worked construction on the side in the summertime. And then after high school, in my teen years. And then after high school, I had a couple of small local jobs here. But then I got into ComEd when I was about 18, actually. I was a power lineman for them for 13 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, and that was a good job, great job, very demanding, a lot of hours and everything else. Mm-hmm. And then as I got into ComEd, I bought my first primary residence, my first personal home at an early age. I was about 20 years old or so. So
not common.
No, not common.
No.
But ComEd blessed me in being able to afford that and be able to do that at a young age. Mm-hmm. And then I would say when I was always interested in real estate and I don't know how to say that. Trying to see where I'm at.
Sure.
So I was always interested in real estate. And then with ComEd, I ended up buying my first rental property when I was 23.
So you're still working with ComEd, and you started investing in rental property and generating those other flows of income.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I liked ComEd. It was a great job and everything else, but I always had an interest in real estate. And so I've always been drawn to it. I don't know really what drew me to it, but I always see everyone I've looked up to, mentors and everything else, they always had real estate in their background. So I figured I want to be a part of that. And then also when I was about 23, 24, my back actually started acting up at ComEd. So a lot of the labor and everything else. Had a back injury. I had multiple disc bulges and an SI joint problem.
I thought that was only old guy problems.
No. So, and you know what? I was trying to figure it out. I was doing a lot of things incorrectly. I was lifting wrong. I was shoveling wrong, working just wrong all in general. And I followed the path of some doctors, and they told me I needed a surgery. Eventually. So I had a surgery, which was a complete mistake. Shouldn't have had it that early. I wish I would have done more physical therapy and everything else, because after 6-month healing process, I was back to square one again. So after the surgery, I was good. And then 6 months later, I was back to square one. And with that, though, I'm glad it happened, because it made me realize that I might not be able to do the ComEd work forever, and I need some source of other passive income, something else I can use. So that
was part of the migration to, hey, buy houses, do the rental thing.
Okay. That really drove me. It's I need something I can make money with my mind and have some type of passive income in case I can't go to work every single day.
Just break my body day after day, right? Yeah, we think we're bulletproof when we're in our 20s, and then we figure out we're not. It's oh, shoot, I got to do something else here.
Yeah.
100%.
So I started buying rentals around that age and everything else, and I was mainly rehabbing them and making them rentals.
You did most of that yourself at that point?
Actually, no. I
farming that out to save your back.
Yes, I farmed most of it out, and then on my second one, I tried doing a little bit of the demo, but I realized early from speaking to my mentors that I was worth more than just doing demo. I should be pursuing the next deal, lining up the next deal. And so I pretty much figured out a system and started sourcing more deals and did over 10 rehabs the first year once we figured out that system.
Wow.
So, yeah. So it took off relatively
You started
quickly.
blowing it up that way.
I found a system. I found a mentor. His name's actually Mike Hossman. He was out of Mantino. I
Yeah.
actually found him from an online website from biggerpockets.com.
You're like, dude, you're right next door.
Yeah.
Biggerpockets.com. I reached out like a newbie on one of those forum posts. I said, hey, I'm Dustin Kooy from Bradley, Illinois. I need a mentor. Someone help me. So for some reason, he reached out because I know he has people blowing him up all the time. And man, he reached out. He set me up with a lender, a hard money lender, which
really cool.
most people don't even know what those are, or at least in our area. And then he also walked me through my first rehab all by email without even meeting him. I sent him photos, and we discussed
What do I do here?
Yeah, we discussed budgets over email. I did my whole first rehab with him by email. So
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy cool.
Yeah.
You know, and part of our conversation here would be like, you know, people that have impacted you as leaders. And well, there's a big one right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coach you through a rehab.
Yeah. He coached me through a rehab by email.
Virtually.
Yes.
It
It
was
was
virtual rehab.
It was fantastic. That biggerpockets.com website, I'm not trying to plug them or
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
but they've actually changed my life. I've met many mentors, and from mentioning that website over the years, I met another one of my mentors and partners now. His name's Steve Lloyd. I met him up probably 9 years ago now at a swamp bar in Mexico. And we're talking just like how we're talking now.
Isn't it crazy?
Yes.
The connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
We started talking real estate, and I mentioned Bigger Pockets, and I mentioned one of the guys on there named Dave Van Horn. He's like, Dave Van Horn. He started going on about
Are you
that
kidding
guy.
me? Yeah.
Yes, and he's actually personal friends with Dave Van Horn and
Oh my
was
gosh.
business partners with him. And over the years, I've become business partners now with Steve Lloyd. He's my mentor. We go on trips together. I see him all the time. He's actually my partner on some of the stuff here locally as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've always, in multiple contexts for years, I've preached that relationships are everything.
Yes.
And what you just described is like, okay,
Yeah.
mic drop. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, that's why, right?
Yeah. And Steve Lloyd, he's never even been to Kankakee. He's been to Chicago.
But he's invested in
He's
it for
invested
you.
in me because he's seen my track record, seen what I can do and everything else. He spends his time between the Philly area and Sarasota in Florida.
Oh, I like hanging out there.
Yeah. So.
That's cool. Well, man, you just walked right into, you know, like the impact of mentors and leaders and
Yes.
people that are willing to invest in us, in you, and say, well, here's what I've learned and here's how I tend to do that. And you're like, hey, that worked.
100%.
You didn't have to go figure that out.
Yes. Mike Hossman showed me his model of buying houses and financing them and refinancing them. It's called the BRRRR method. If anyone's interested in that, BRRR. It's buy, rehab, rent, and refinance. There's another R added to that, and you repeat it. So you keep repeating that. So you
Rinse and repeat.
Yes, you
Okay.
follow that system. And today I've done that probably 150 times. And other people, you talk to people here in the area, they say that's impossible or you can't do that.
You're like, I already have.
I talked to a lender when I was about 22, 23, and I mentioned hard money to that lender, a local lender around here. He's like, why would you ever want to do that? He's like, those things don't exist. And I was like, if I would have listened to that guy at that time, I would not be where I'm at right now.
Right.
And I'm still doing that today on bigger projects. I do that for our commercial buildings. I do that for our residential flips. I use the same model.
Who's my partners go.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Fantastic.
Well, it sounds like like from a young age, you've had this drive, and also, I don't know, just the drive to like, keep moving forward. And like you said, you know, you had a lender say that's impossible. And it sounds like that's a trigger for you. Like, oh yeah,
I'll show you,
yeah.
right? I'll show you.
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, there's been multiple times. Like, I just don't like being told no. Like, if you tell me no,
I'm picking up on that,
I'm
yeah.
going to find a way to figure it out.
I think I can.
And keep moving forward. You know, that lender told me no. I've had other partners tell me no. I've had local people tell me no. That's not possible. Okay, we're going to figure it out and make it happen.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
Watch me and we'll take pictures.
Yeah, I was told from when I hurt my back when I was about 23 and going through that process. I was 25 and that doctor told me that by the time I'm 30 I'm gonna be in a wheelchair. If you do not stop what you're doing, you're gonna be in a wheelchair. I was like, I'm not going to be in a wheelchair. I'm going to figure this out. And then I went online. I started researching for a physical therapist, and I found a guy that his name was Dean Somerset, and he works with athletes in injury rehab and everything else. And within 6 months, he had me deadlifting over 200 pounds. So
like,
at that time, when I couldn't tie my shoes, 200 pounds isn't that much. But in 6 months, he had me deadlifting 200 pounds. And ever since then, I don't even have a back problem. I don't.
That's amazing.
I work out 5-6 days a week, and I don't have a back problem anymore.
Yeah, I was like, you don't look like a dude that hasn't been active, right? I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, no, a lot of people want it. Like if you didn't know me at the age from like 22 to 25, you would never known I had a big back problem.
Yeah.
So,
Wow. Well, that's a great lesson too in seeking out other sources of information and getting direction from a variety of people, even in your health needs. I was like, I think there's a better way here, and I'm going to seek it out and figure out what that is.
Yes, don't ever take that first no or that no, that's impossible. Don't like take that verbatim. Don't make that, you know.
Yeah. Second opinion, right?
Second opinion, yes.
Or third or fourth.
Yes, you know.
When it sounds also from a young age, you realize that as well. It's like, oh, well, I don't know these things. Other people do. I'm going to seek out those people.
Yes.
And I mean, one, to have the kind of the wherewithal at such a young age, and then also the follow through.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Because I feel like if I was when I was 20, I was like, I was not thinking about those things at all. It's really cool to hear like you had that wherewithal and just like, you know what, I'm gonna go through with this.
Yeah.
And like you're like, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll figure something out.
Yeah. I've always had that mentality. I don't know where that exactly comes from, but I mean, I'll go back to a little bit of my personal life. I did get, I moved out of my house when I was 17.
Okay.
I was acting up and everything else. I probably deserved to get moved out and everything. Yeah. And then from that time, I was like, okay, I got to make this work. I got to make this happen. So from 17 on, I've been on my own. So a lot of people don't realize that. They like
independence came early.
They think I came from money or something like that. I have some type of crazy financial backing. I don't. I got kicked out when I was 17 and made things happen. You know?
Like, I got to figure out how to eat. Food was coming from you.
Yes. And I realized now, back then, I had a different perspective on it. But now today, I look at it different. Like, I probably deserve that, you know, and I'm making mistakes.
That's good self-awareness. You know, most of us needed something like that when we were 17. I'm like kind of going, my 17-year-old Jeff and what I know now, I'm like, what a knucklehead.
Two different people.
I was stubborn then and like, okay, I'm right, you're wrong. But now looking back now, I still have that drive to make something of myself and make it happen. You know, go to college. I barely graduated high school, you know, but I think that may have given me the drive, you know. You tell me I couldn't do something.
You're an overcomer, it sounds like.
Well,
absolutely.
And it's been a common through line of these conversations of leaders. Like, there's that self-reflection as well. Like you looked in and you're like, oh, you know what, I probably maybe deserve that. But also now I made the decision. Now I have to live with that and keep moving forward. So that's really awesome. Where you're at now.
So I was thinking of this progression. You're 20 years old, your first house, rental, flipping houses at 25, figured this thing out. Can you remember back at that point and think, okay, there was a certain point in that progression of things that you accomplished where you went, I got this figured out. I can really do this.
No, you know what? I still have that trouble sometimes, like even today. Like I realize I'm doing a lot. I'm moving a lot of stuff. I do a lot of projects, but I still, I sometimes struggle seeing what I'm doing in myself. You know,
self-doubt is something I think we all have to tackle at times.
Yeah, you don't realize like how much you're impacting. You know what I mean? Yeah. We flipped, 150, probably 200 different projects now. And I don't
With more coming.
And we got a lot more coming, and I don't really look at it like that way. I just like running. I like keep moving forward. I like building a team. I get more of a kick right now than just like the stuff we've accomplished. I get more of a kick out of taking care of my team. See my partners. My partner is Eric Wotecki. He's owner of Sky Development, Wotec Construction, everything else. Fabulous guy, awesome guy. And I get more of a kick out of seeing him be able to take care of his family. You know what I mean? Out of stuff him and I are creating together. Or hiring new employees in the office and them seeing them feed their families. I'm cheap at heart. I keep my bank accounts low on purpose because I like feeling like I have to run. You know what
Keeps
I mean?
you hungry a little bit?
It keeps me hungry.
Okay.
Yes.
I love that focus of what you just said, of that. I'm paraphrasing. It's like you get a lot of joy from allowing the successes to improve other people's lives and to give them some stability, some options, some even experiences maybe they wouldn't have been able to have until they started working with you guys.
100%. And like one of my biggest one of my biggest passions recently that I have discovered is mentoring other investors. I've got, I'm a full-time broker too, and I get a lot of comments from my competition that they don't want to work with me because I'll take all the deals for myself. One of my biggest, like I can analyze deals and I can't obviously take them all for myself. So one of my biggest passions is helping other investors come up and get to the point where I'm at, where I'm heading. I just help investors every single day, and I love it.
What's some of the challenges that you see when you're mentoring them? What are some of the challenges that you're helping them through?
The challenge is seeing them. Them not seeing the potential in properties. A lot of people just look over. There's everyday properties sitting on the market right now, and they're undervaluing them. They're not seeing the potential. They're not seeing the long-term rewards from the properties. Right. There's a property I just got under contract for. I don't know if we want to put this one in there or not, but because I can go into numbers. But this specific investor is a property over in Bradley, and he put a down payment on it and everything else. He's making $2,000 a month. He put about $40,000 down. He'll have all of his money back within like 2.5 years or so. And the property will be paid for.
It'll be gravy after
15, 20 years. And that's one deal. He didn't even have to do anything. He didn't have to do any renovation to it. He's got 3 tenants there, and he's making a killing. And most people don't overlook that property.
Yep.
Right. They don't see. Yeah, and part of that is seeing the possibility.
Yes.
I think that's a common thing, especially in the area like we're in, where there's these, whether it's homes or commercial buildings, there's these great facilities that people might look at and go, oh, that's just some rundown building. And I'm like, oh, but it's got hardwood floors and the masonry and the trusses and the architecture. That's magnificent. And you see that and you're gonna go, oh boy, we can shine that up and refresh it and renew it. And then people go, God, what happened here in the city in downtown? And you're like, we saw it before it was done.
Yes. Right. And that's one thing when I first met Dustin was like in the first conversation we had, like big picture guy. Like he could see it. He could see through the cracked windows, the brick maybe falling off. Like, and
we can fix that.
Like this, like a lot of these buildings, they have so much character that you can't even pay for to get anymore. And instantly I was like, oh, this guy gets it. Like this is so great.
Yes, and I'm glad you guys both share the passion on that too.
It gets me excited.
Same.
Because I see stuff getting torn down all the time around here. Or I get sent to a property and there's like, hey, this is a demolition property. This needs to be taken down. It's like, for what reason?
Yeah.
Why is it getting taken down? Why are you guys demolishing this property?
What? Yeah.
It's a tragedy that so many properties and buildings have been taken down in this area, and it's great that you and your team had a vision.
You're rescuing
even
some of them.
And I'm glad you said team because I get a lot of recognition. My team doesn't get all the recognition all the time. No. I have a huge, great team behind me.
I mean, I don't see Dustin with the hammer.
No. And I, you know what? I'm not saying I couldn't do the work. I'm handy, but I need to go chase the leads, chase the new deals, the future deals for our company.
And we were talking in other past sessions that we've done about a leader understanding what the things are that only they can do. And it doesn't mean they aren't willing to do, to demo, to hammer and nail, whatever. But it's like, oh, if my vision of seeing a building or a home and going, oh my gosh, this could be magnificent. Not everybody can see that or know how to make it happen. And so I affirm that. It's like, your value really is looking down a street here and going, that could be 4 different things. And I know what I would make it look like and what I would change. And there's multiple people and very, skilled craftsmen in this community and area who can do the work per se. But by you bringing the vision, you're doing some of the things that only you can do. And then you bring people around to go, you're an incredible mason. You're an incredible iron worker. you're a painter. When we get this all together, that's when, I'm a builder's kid. We've talked about that. I'm like, when that all comes together and it's like, look what we did.
Yeah.
It goes back to your focus on team. It's like, we do this with us, not me.
Yeah. And I listened to my mentors. My mentors told me early on that, hey, you're worth more than that if you want to be big and everything else.
Yeah.
You got to learn what you're good at and focus on that and hire out the rest, My painter told me, I remember like it was yesterday, my painter on one of my first flips, he told me, he's like, hey, Dusty, they call me Dusty. A lot of my old friends call me Dusty. And I was like, Dusty, you're not going to get very far if you're paying someone to pick up your own sticks in your yard. I was like, okay, we'll see about that. And I don't think he's painting.
He's not painting for you anyway.
Yeah, and I don't mean that to down him, but like there's some people that just can't see the potential or seeing your own value in yourself, what you should and shouldn't be doing.
Right. And that bigger picture of, like you said, flipping 150 to 200 properties over the years, that happens one by one by one, and you only do that kind of volume when you see the bigger picture of going, this community, this town, this city, this state could look so different if we see what's right in front of us and renew it and refresh it and rebuild it.
Yeah, and none of this would be going on right now if I was installing my own flooring, doing my own demolition or anything like that. I need to be chasing leads.
You're kind of ahead of the charge as the leader, kind of saying, look, here's some places we've done. Here's some things we've rehabbed. We can show you that. We could do that here. And while you're helping tell that story, your team is doing that painting, plumbing, wiring, etc., and turning these places into something that they used to be.
Yeah. Was it hard for you at first? I know it was taking on the leadership roles that I have here at Pathfinder. That was a rough thing for me, is to kind of unwind myself from some of the things that I was doing. The doing.
I think I was. It may have been hard, but at first, like I was working at ComEd full time, so I was working 80 hours for 7 years in a row. I worked on average 78 hours a week. That's with vacation times figured in there and everything else, but I was an average 78 hours a week. Wow. So you're literally, everyone says, yeah, it's a great job and everything else, but you're working 2 full-time
You're
jobs.
earning it. You're earning what you're getting paid. Man.
So great job, great money and everything else, but that kind of forced me to sub everything out. So I don't have time to go clean. I don't have time to go trim the grass or do anything like that. So I was doing everything on the computer, by phone, everything else.
I had to figure out the system because your calendar and your work just didn't allow you to be all those places at once.
Okay. And I partnered with, I didn't partner with them, but I hired good subcontractors that would handle the whole renovation. So I wasn't talking to 12 different contractors. I was maybe talking to two or three on one project.
Okay. And that's teamwork, even when they don't officially work for you, right? They work with you because you're subbing them in to do the drywall. You're subbing them in to do the different aspects of the build. Yep. And for me, that's just part of the magic, is watching all those different pros do their thing, and then it all comes together in this finished product. It's amazing.
And I love that too, but like my team is so great right now. I can literally get the property under contract, go to the closing table, hand the keys to Eric, because Eric does a great job.
Like, go do your thing.
Yes, and I won't even go back to the property until it's done sometimes, because he does. I mean, he manages it great. I never question anything that guy does.
And that's trust, confidence, teamwork. You just know you've got that.
Yes.
Like, here's the keys. I'll be back in 3 months, right?
Yes, he knows. He does his job. I do my job. I keep leads coming in. He does project management and gets everything done.
Yeah, and when you get those systems figured out, that's part of how you grow an organization. It's how you grow people. Because they're like, hey, the flip side of that is if I'm an employee or one of your team members, where they're saying, he trusts me to do my thing. Yeah. And so you're not spending time looking over somebody's shoulder or saying, why did you do that? How come you didn't do that? Because you built that trust. And to me, a big piece of leadership is establishing trust and letting people do the things they're good at and not trying to be everything.
Yep. That's hard to do.
That's how to kill yourself, right? Yeah. You try to do everything yourself.
It is. Yeah.
And it's so much more fun. I was going back to what you were saying about building a team and taking care of your employees and elevating their life and opportunities. I'm like, that's a big chunk of the joy for me, it isn't just like, I've personally flipped him. No, it's like dozens of people have been a part of these things, and that's part of the fun.
Yeah.
That's part of the joy.
It's not even, it's like we're affecting all the subcontractors and their families. I mean, it's a ripple effect. We're affecting all of downtown Kankakee right now.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I guess I don't take enough time to sit back and reflect the impact we're having. I need to work on that.
I was going to ask you,
that's why we need to sit down and talk with you. To got to go, hey, let's just take a minute and look at this.
It's tough to, Because I know you're looking to the next project.
Yep.
And the same with us. And it's hard to kind of take those and celebrate those little victories and take a breath and just be like, oh man, we did how many websites or this or that or how many rebuilds. It's like it's what's great and sometimes you forget like, oh man, I actually forgot about some of these things. This is really cool to kind of just like reflect on that as well. And I'm really bad at it too. Like, because I'm always like, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next thing?
Yeah, and it's an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, it is.
It is. It's like I just got something under contract. It was just a holiday weekend over the weekend, everything else, and I do travel a lot. So it's one of the reasons I started working for myself, and I have a passion in the real estate, and it affords me. I'm able to travel a decent amount. So
you can do it from anywhere. Really.
Yeah, we're camping this weekend, and I got a 7-unit new project under contract while we're camping. You know what I mean?
Nice.
I wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise, and it's fantastic. But as soon as I get that under contract, and I get like, okay, that adrenaline rush is over. What project's next?
You're like the hunter that's like, okay, all right, I downed that buck and it's it's sectioned and quartered and in the fridge. Now I need to go hunt a new thing.
Yes. Yeah. It's not over that fast. There's more to it and everything else.
Sure.
But it's almost like as soon as I get that under contract, okay, what's next?
Like,
so
boom,
I got my
let's
team
go.
to take care of it from there on.
Yeah.
So
and again, that's how you enable the space where you're doing the things you do best and things that inspire you and encourage you and are exciting, and then they get to do the same with other parts of the process.
Yep.
And that's really when we're making music together, I think. The systems come together, the team comes together, the trust is there, and we let each other do what we do best. Yep. That's like ideal to me.
100%.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you're a super motivated dude. So you have something like, do you set goals for yourself? Do you have a goal you're like looking to shoot to get to next, or?
I used to set goals. I'll be honest. The last couple of years, I haven't really set any goals.
Okay.
It's just moving forward, building my team. I don't have any written goals or anything like that. I want to, because I'm a full-time broker too. I want to build my broker team. So I want a buyer's agent. I already got a couple people kind of working for me right now, part-time on that. I want to continue to build that. No specific goal.
Well, you seem like a guy that's really relishing the moment, living in the moment. And
try to be.
Yeah, and doing great things for your team and other people, like right here, right now.
Yes.
And because I'm a goal setter, but say that, but at the same time, if I'm always looking 18, 24 months out, I can miss what's right in front of my face.
Yes.
Right?
There's something about being present, and that's something I struggle with. I think a lot of people struggle with that. There's a book called The Power of Now. I don't know if you guys have read that or anything. That's a book you need to read 4 or 5 times. I listened to it twice now. It still hasn't totally sunk in. But
some of those I go back to over and over again.
It's not the most exciting read, but it's about being present in the present moment and focusing on now. There's no pain or suffering if you're actually in the present moment. So I try to be that way, but I struggle.
Yeah. There was a classic picture just this week of Tiger Woods at a golf tournament. And the picture that's gone viral is there's like people crammed all around watching him tee off. And they've all got their phones up, but there's one dude just standing there with his beverage, just living in the moment. Like, I'm standing here watching Tiger tee off. And it was such a contrast to everybody who was like, oh, I got to get a picture for my social media. And I'm not I love those things. But he was like, there's one dude in the middle of all these people kind of going, I'm just taking this in. Like, this is one of the all-time greats. 10 feet away. I'm just going to like watch it and enjoy it. And that's living in the moment.
It is. And we're all so worried about our social media presence now. And I didn't get social media until I'm a little behind on times for my age. I'm 33 now. I don't think I got social media until I was 27. I ignored it. I didn't want it.
You were too busy working.
Exactly.
You didn't have time.
And I believe in like the power of social media now, but we're all caught up about capturing that moment just to post it on Facebook. And I'm guilty of it too now.
Right.
And I think we all need to put our phones down a little more and get more in the moment.
No, agreed. And
absolutely.
As a photographer and a videographer, I tend to like, oh man, I need to capture this. But I went on a trip with my brothers out west, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like take in these vistas, take in these visions, and then just like be here, and not just be like constantly looking through a viewfinder, So And that was tough for me because like that's part of my profession.
You're a
is to
pro
do it.
and sizing things up.
But I wanted to just like remember it the way I remembered it, not just from a photograph.
And that's tough to do.
It is really tough to do. Yeah.
I'm pulling examples from sports. I guess I have sports analogies for everything. But there was a guy who just came up maybe 2-3 weeks ago. I think it was the Baltimore Orioles catcher, and it was his first game. Start of the game, his first game in the big leagues, and he went out behind home plate, and he literally, before he put his mask on, he just slow turned at full circle and just looked at everything around him, then put his mask on. It was just such a classic moment. It was like, there's a guy probably 2021, made the big leagues day one, and he's just going,
this is pretty cool.
I want to soak this up. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, don't act like it's not a big deal. I love that so much.
Yep. And I guess going back to goals, I want to, I say this, I do want to have a little more of a stable schedule. Right now, I get up at 5:30 every day, and I'll run till 8, 9 o'clock at night, you know, and I want to start a family. That's a big goal for me right now. So that's not a business goal. I want to start a family, and I want a little more stable lifestyle because I'll work every single day, and I'm just addicted to it. But I want a good family, a big family.
Well, and I would affirm that for sure, and I would say this too. It seems like that is very achievable because you've already understand this concept of partnering and having a team and having lots of people that do what they do really well, which means it gives you some space as you choose to take it to go, I'm not going to do any deals for the next 2 days, and we're going to go somewhere together, or we're going to turn the phone off, and we're going to just enjoy not doing stuff.
Yeah, and that's my biggest struggle.
Easier said than done.
Yes, that's my biggest struggle. Like there'll be times like sometimes I'll hand the phone to my wife Jamie. I was like, here, just take my phone. I'm not tempted by it. We'll be out for dinner or we'll be doing something else. But I struggle shutting my brain off for when it comes to business. So I'm so addicted to it. I love it. It's my high, whatever you want to call it. I'll run numbers in my sleep. I'll call Eric in the morning. I was like, hey, I just did this whole project. I did everything in my sleep. I figured out how we're gonna get this tip
brain down,
doing all of this, and he's he loves it.
Awesome.
But I didn't sleep.
And I focus on that even myself too. Sometimes, like if we go to meet somebody or meet my kids for dinner, I literally just drop my phone in the car before we go into the restaurant, just because I don't need it. No, I don't need it. And we're there to see people we love. So it's little, but I leave it in the car, not take my phone.
I wish more people put that into practice. On date night, I've been either giving it to my wife because I'm not tempted, or I leave it in the car or do something. You know?
Is there something?
I think it's a good call.
Is there something that you do that kind of like gets you out of that? Like go for a walk or run or
meditating.
So
I'm a big fan. I love meditating. I love yoga. I love all that stuff.
Focus in.
Yeah, there'll be times I'll go up and down. I'll be really dedicated and I'll meditate, or I'll wake up every single morning and actually practice gratefulness. I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah,
same.
Even go back 5 years ago, you tell me practice gratefulness. Some of my mentors, Steve Lloyd, he's like, so you need to practice gratefulness, do this, blah, blah. I'm like, you're full of shit. Like, what do you know? Like, I'm not going to wake up and say what I'm thankful for to myself. What kind of sense does this make? But it totally
resets.
It resets your brain and it programs you for a good day. I mean, Les Brown, he's a guy who listens to you guys. Probably listen to him all the time.
Oh gosh,
I listen to him almost every single day. And he always says the first 30 seconds of when you wake up is most impactful for your day. It'll set the tone for the rest of your day. So start with something great, something good. And I'll turn on one of his videos, what I'm doing, getting ready in the morning, or in the shower, whatever. I'll turn on something, I'll practice my gratefulness.
It matters.
It sets the tone for the rest of the day.
It does. Yeah. I think we was talking about this offline with one of our other guests about even going through tough times. There was a time of that the first thing in the morning, I would say it 10 times. It's going to be a good day.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good day. And I would count and say it 10 times.
Yep.
Because I didn't feel like it was going to be a good day.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I knew it mattered. Words matter. what I think, what I tell myself about my day, it matters.
We always have the choice for our
Right.
outlook on it. You can spin it however you want. You
Yeah.
know?
Right.
I'm more of a positive outlook on everything.
Yeah.
Like you can look at my back injury. I look at that as a blessing. Now
Yeah.
it taught me to lift correctly, and it pushed me to where I'm at today.
Change
You
the
know?
course of your life.
Yeah. Went
Not
through-
fun at the time.
No, not fun at all.
No.
I mean, gone through a divorce. I learned
Yeah.
what to do in business and in marriage. You know, went through an early divorce. So
Yeah.
I'm blessed now. Like, you know, so
Right.
Figure some things out as we go along, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
we
it's
do.
I think it's really easy to be negative. Like it's really easy to get into that rut of being
It's almost
negative.
like default.
Yeah,
You know,
because
yeah.
it's a lot harder to be positive and to actually work towards that positivity. It's I say it's easy to be negative because like you can sit on the couch and be negative.
Yes.
It's a lot harder to sit on the couch and be positive and like doing something good for your community, doing something good for yourself.
Yes.
So I think we all get stuck in that kind of that rut, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden like, you know what? I gotta get up. I gotta go do something. I gotta
Yep.
do something for
gonna
myself.
move.
Yeah, I gotta move. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't realize that negative mindset affects everyone around you.
Talking about ripple effects, that's even more so.
Yes, I mean, you ever say just hello to a random stranger on the day that you know what I mean? They perk up just for
Yeah.
saying hello or just
Yeah.
being courteous to somebody out at random. But
Yeah.
like, some of my office, like your negative attitude will affect everybody in your office, your corporation. You
Yeah.
know, so I try to be. I'm not perfect. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
Sure. we all have our moments, man.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. But I try to be positive and have a good outlook on everything, no matter what situation I'm in.
Right.
Yep.
And when that's our expectation, when we talk about focus, meditating on thoughts and things, is start our day with like, it's going to be a good day. You know, I'll often think I want to be like so good for everybody that crosses my path today. I want to make them feel better after we've come together, you know.
Yeah.
Even if it's for a minute, like passing somebody on the street that you don't know, just going to go, good morning.
Yes.
And people are like, oh, hi,
hi.
right?
The guy's not so mean,
smiling.
you know?
Yeah, they weren't smiling until
Yeah.
you say good morning or
Yeah.
hi.
Yeah.
You know? So we can surprise people by just being that positive light
100%.
in their day.
So
I love that. Yeah.
What else we got?
Man, that was
Gosh.
one hell of a
Good stuff.
conversation.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know. Do we have anything else we want to cover with
You know,
this?
like when we were talking before, it's like we don't even get to some of our listed questions because
Yeah.
we have better conversations
Yeah.
when we get to
Kinda
hear your
going with the
story.
flow.
And I think we barely got into it too, you know?
Yeah.
Boom, an hour goes by.
That's what everybody has said so far. Oh, it's been 45 minutes, an hour already? I
Wow.
can't believe it.
Yeah, I looked
so-
down. I'm like, wait, we started at 1. This is impossible,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think we got a lot of good stuff. man.
Cool.
Thank you, Dustin.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you for your
much.
time. You know you're a busy guy.
Thanks
so-
for letting us have a peek into your story and
Yeah.
know a little bit more about what drives you and
Yeah.
motivates you. I mean, I guarantee you, when this drops and people hear your story and how you approach things, it's going to be an encouragement to
Yeah,
a
I
lot
hope
of
so.
people.
I hope
Absolutely,
so.
absolutely.
And I really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
All right, good.
See, you were a little hesitant.
You were a little hesitant at first, so no worry.
Yeah. That's been part of the fun too. Is
Yeah.
so you're not the only one to kind of go, I've never done this.
Yeah.
How's this going to work? And what do you know? And they rightfully have questions, but then an hour goes flying by. And one of our previous interviews said, I wish we could keep going. This was so fun.
Yeah.
And I would too, you know what I mean? But I know
totally.
we're all super busy.
Yeah. But I said, and I think the reason we realized we'd like it to keep going is because we don't have enough conversations like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what we want for these conversations is as we share them and record them is have people go, everybody's got a story.
Yep.
Everybody came from something,
Yeah.
good, bad, or in between. And to get to share that and to hear that,
Yep.
it's just an honor for me to hear everybody's story as
Yeah.
they come in and talk to us to go, man, thanks for letting us
Yeah.
peek inside your story a
Yeah.
little bit more. I absolutely have loved that with
Yeah.
every single person
Agreed.
we've talked
Thank
to.
you so much.
Very cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. And are you guys, I guess, what's your guys' goal with the podcast?
I don't know.
Well-
so the genesis of it was I had since I was doing more. I've had bosses in my past, and I didn't want to be a boss because bosses suck
In a negative
And-
way, yeah.
in a negative way. And so I was just like, I want to be a leader, and I was like, who do I know that are leaders? And then Jeff is a leadership coach, and I'm like, hey Jeff, what
Let's schedule something.
Let's schedule
Yeah.
something, and so basically, like I took his coaching, and then like the last thing he told me was like, how are you going to keep being, how are you going to keep moving forward? How are you going to be keeping leadership kind of at top of mind? It's like, well, I want to talk to other leaders. And then kind of reflecting on that, I was like, Jeff, and like the next day, I was like, Jeff, we should make this a podcast. Like,
what if we co-hosted it?
What if we just co-host a podcast of like talking to leaders locally and just kind of, and also just kind of branch out from that.
Yeah.
And that's really, that's it. That is really the only thing, like one, to kind of, I want to, in educating myself, I want to be able to educate other people. And leadership is attainable for really anyone. Like and everyone has the potential.
It's not just one way to do it.
No, so that's really what I want to show. Like the barrier to entry to be a leader is just to do it. Like that's it.
Just show up, quit.
He's heard me say a lot. You just go off the high dive, whether you're scared or not.
You say that it's like we.
When I was a little kid going off the high dive.
Going on high dive. Like we went on some vacations and we'll do like a little bit of cliff jumping. Not super high, maybe 20, 30 feet. Like you do not want to do it at all. And then we get up there like, what the fuck? Why the fuck am I even up here? This is stupid. Yeah. And then, but you jump and you feel so great after you do it.
You're like, oh,
one of my coolest memories that's kind of like that was the first mission trip I went on was to Peru.
Yeah.
And we were in the northern highlands of Peru, and we went there to build a church for a village of people. And before we got there, we stayed at the mission station for a couple of days because travel to get there was brutal. And there was a local kid who led us back to a big waterfall back in the jungle. You'd never find it if you didn't know it was back there. And he told us about it. And so we went back there. And it was that kind of thing. It was probably 30, 40 feet.
Peru, you said?
Peru, yeah. And what it was like this hillside, this heavy rock boulder hillside. And the water had been running for so long that this giant boulder, like the size of a house, was just smooth.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And then there was a boulder under it that is flowing down this and into a creek. The giant boulder, the second one that's the size of the house, the water had been running for so long, there was like this natural pool inside.
Wow.
And to do it, you had to climb up this hillside and get up top and butt slide down. And some of the people were like, oh, I'm going to watch. And I'm like,
no thank you.
I'm going up there.
I want to see that.
And I'm that guy. So I got up there and I was like, oh, it looks farther from here than it did. But it was smooth. And the algae, it was like smooth. And same thing. As soon as I hit that water and I went underwater inside, then I came up, I'm like, I'm going back. That was cool. Then a whole bunch more people were like, well, I'm going too. He didn't just die.
My tattoo artist, he went and said we got married in Costa Rica, me and my wife, and he can't swim. He's older. He's 28, whatever else. We never expected because he works out and everything else. He's like, can't swim. You seriously can't swim? He's like, no, dude. Like, you can't go under it and start. Like, I don't know what to do.
He's a big dude.
And actually, so he's my tattoo artist. He's a very talented guy, and he's not scared of anything. And I actually got him to jump off a waterfall with me or whatever. Like, dude, I got you. You come down, whatever. I'll be right here. I got you. And he jumped right in, and then he jumped like 3 more while we were on vacation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he can't swim.
And that's trust. That is trust.
Yes. That's trust.
That is awesome. Trust, man. He's like, you're not going to let me drown here. And therefore, I had this incredible fun experience because I trust you.
Yes.
Fantastic.
This episode concludes our first season of Leadership Level Up podcast. After a month off, we'll launch season 2 in November.